Motorcycle mods get a bad rap. Most people think of loud pipes, flashy lights, or cosmetic nonsense that adds weight and subtracts taste. But there's a whole category of upgrades that never get talked about. The subtle, smart, actually useful mods that make your ride better, safer, for just less annoying. These aren't the ones you show off at bike night. These are the ones that quietly make your bike more rideable, more reliable, and more yours. Half of them don't even look like mods, but once you install them, you'll wonder how you ever rode without them. So let's get into it. Here are some underrated, under-the-radar motorcycle mods that actually matter, even if nobody's bragging about them on Instagram. Number 1. Clutch arm extension. Your left hand will thank you. Here's one you rarely hear about, but once you try it, it changes everything. A clutch arm extension is a simple bolt-on piece that mounts to your clutch actuator arm at the engine, giving you a longer lever ratio. Translation? It makes your clutch pull noticeably lighter without changing the actual clutch springs or cable. This is a game changer for bikes with stiff clutch pulls, especially older models, cable setups, or aggressive sport clutches. And if you ride in traffic, do slow speed work, or just value comfort on long rides, it's one of the best mods you can make. The beauty is in the physics. A longer lever means more mechanical advantage. You pull the lever the same distance, but it takes less force. It doesn't change the feel at the bar much, and most riders won't even notice the extension tucked down by the engine. But your hand, it definitely notices. This is one of those mods that feels like cheating, and for long-distance riders or folks with hand fatigue, it kinda is. Number 2. Inline fuel filter with quick disconnect fittings. If you ever had to pull your tank to do basic maintenance, you know the drill. Awkward angles, fuel dripping, hoses fighting you the whole way. And if your bike's carbureted or even some older EFI models, you might be gambling every time you put the tank back down. This is where an inline fuel filter with quick disconnects becomes a total lifesaver. You add a compact, transparent fuel filter between the tank and carburetor injectors, and use quick disconnect couplings to make removal a one-click job. No clamps, no spills, no guesswork. You get 2 big wins here. 1. Cleaner fuel, especially on bikes that sit a lot or get gas from questionable stations. 2. Way easier maintenance. No more pulling lines off while praying you don't tear or kink something. Bonus. Many quick disconnects also have auto shut-off valves, which means no fuel leaking out once you separate them. It's the kind of upgrade that feels like it should have come from the factory. Not flashy, not expensive, but once you install one, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. Number 3. Silicone vacuum caps. Because half the factory hoses are pointless. Pop the tank, look under the airbox. What do you see? A spaghetti mess of rubber vacuum lines going everywhere. And half of them aren't even connected to anything. They're capped with crusty old rubber plugs that crack the first time you look at them sideways. That's where silicone vacuum caps come in. It's one of the simplest, cheapest mods you can make, and it instantly cleans up your engine bay and prevents mystery vacuum leaks down the line. Unlike the stock rubber junk that dry rots after 2 summers, silicone vacuum caps are heat-resistant, fuel-resistant, and way more durable. You can get a kit of assorted sizes for under $10 and have enough to do your bike, your buddy's bike, and your lawnmower. So why does this matter? Because vacuum leaks cause all kinds of annoying symptoms. Rough idle, hard starting, weird throttle response, and they're often traced back to one of those dumb little caps rotting off a metal barb. Plug them with silicone. Forget about them. Never deal with cracked rubber gremlins again. Number 4. LED backlighting for your gauges. Here's one of those mods that no one notices until they ride your bike at night and go, "Wait, why does this look so damn good?" Stock gauge lighting on most bikes is an afterthought. Dim, uneven, sometimes just one sad bulb trying to light up your speedo and tack from behind a foggy plastic screen. But swapping in a low-power LED backlight gives your cluster a whole new lease on life. We're not talking about blinding neon here, just subtle, even illumination in the color you want. White, amber, soft red, whatever suits your ride. Brighter, crisper, and way easier to read at night. Bonus, LEDs last way longer and draw less power, which is good news if you're running a smaller charger system or a lithium battery. It's not just about looks, it's about clarity. When you're ripping down a dark highway at 75 miles an hour, the last thing you want is to squint at your gauges wondering if that's a low fuel warning or just a weird reflection. It's a small touch that makes a big difference, and most riders never even think about it. Number 5. Axle sliders that double as towing spools. Most people look at axle sliders and think they're just crash protection, and sure, that's part of it. But the smarter play is to get a set that also doubles as towing or paddock stand mounts. 2 mods, 1 clean setup. These combo-style sliders mount to your rear, and sometimes front axles to give you 1. A solid pickup point for using a rear stand, perfect for chain maintenance, tire swaps, or winter storage. And 2. Protection for your swing arm and axle if the bike ever tips over or goes sliding down the road. And since they're mounted through the axle, they're tougher and less janky looking than those bolt-on swing arm spool brackets that snap off the first time you hit a pothole. It's clean, subtle, and smart. Bonus: having sliders already installed means if you ever need to load your bike on a trailer or get pulled out of a ditch, you got a built-in tie-down point that won't bend or snap like stock hardware. They don't cost much, they don't weigh anything, and they solve 3 problems in one go. Number 6. Waterproof USB charging port with a kill switch. Everyone wants a USB port on their bike, until they realize most of them drain your battery even when the bike is off. That's the dirty little secret nobody tells you. You wire it up, forget about it, and a week later your bike won't start because your charger's been sipping power 24/7. That's why the smart move is installing a USB port with an integrated waterproof kill switch. Flip it on when you need juice, flip it off when you're done. No drain, no problem. Even better, mount it in a weatherproof spot like under the seat in a tank bag pass-through or inside a bar-mounted switch cluster, and pair it with a fuse circuit. Now you've got clean, protected power that won't ruin your day. It's one of those tiny upgrades that saves you massive headaches. No more pulling fuses, rewiring accessories, or coming back to a dead bike because you left your GPS plugged in overnight. Cheap, easy, and saves your battery's life. What more do you want? Number 7. Upgraded throttle tube with a better cam profile. Most riders never think about their throttle tube until they try one with a better profile and suddenly realize how clunky the factory setup was. A lot of stock throttles have a really long, vague pull. You twist, and twist some more just to get into the meat of the power man. It's like rowing a boat just to accelerate. A simple upgrade. Swap in a quick turn throttle tube or one with a progressive cam profile. That means you get a faster throttle response with less wrist movement and smoother modulation at low speeds. This isn't just for racers, it's for anyone who wants better control. Whether you're navigating slow-speed U-turns or trying to hold steady throttle through a bumpy corner, a better tube gives you precision instead of slop. Some upgraded throttle tubes are aluminum, which also gets rid of the flexy plastic feel of the OEM setup, and many are a straight swap, no custom cables or mapping needed. It's one of those mods that feels tiny on paper and completely different in your right hand. Number 8. LED load equalizer. You swapped your old turn signals for slick, low-profile LEDs. They look awesome, they draw less power, and they light up like lightning. But now your signals blink like they're having a panic attack, or worse, they don't blink at all. Welcome to the world of hyperflashing. That's where an LED load equalizer comes in. It's a simple inline resistor or module that tells your flash relay, "Hey, this isn't the ball burning out, we're just more efficient now." The real problem: most bikes are wired for halogen bulbs that draw more current. When you replace them with LEDs, the system thinks the bulb is dead, your dash throws warnings, your blinkers go nuts, and your relay starts throwing a tantrum. An LED load equalizer fixes it cleanly. Plug-and-play kits exist for most popular bikes, or you can wire one inline yourself with a little solder and heat shrink. Bonus: some modules also let you customize your flash rate for a more subtle, Euro-style blink. It's not glamorous, but if you're running LED signals and haven't done this yet, you're just asking for electrical headaches. Number 9. Handlebar vibration dampers that actually work. You ever ride for an hour, pull off your gloves, and your hands are still buzzing like you stuck them in a beehive? That's handlebar vibration. And while every bike has some, certain engines, especially singles and parallel twins, can shake your arms numb. Enter bar end vibration dampers, not to be confused with bar end weights, which help, but only a little. True dampers are designed to absorb and dissipate vibration through mass and internal friction, not just add weight. Some use rubber isolators, some use internal springs or gel inserts, but the effect is the same. Less fatigue, better comfort, and more control. And no, they're not just for touring bikes. Anyone doing long commutes or spirited rides can benefit. Your mirrors stay clearer, your throttle hand stops tingling, and your grip stays looser because your hands aren't subconsciously clenching just to stay steady. They're stealthy, they work, and they make every ride feel smoother, even if no one else ever notices. Number 10. Tapered wheel balancing weights. 'Cause tape weights are ugly and fall off. Most riders never think about their wheel weights until one goes flying and suddenly the bars start wobbling at 65 miles an hour. Those little stick-on weights that came with your last tire change, yeah, they're garbage. They peel, they corrode, they fall off with heat and rain, and they look like a leftover science project. Enter tapered, clamp-on wheel balancing weights. These install directly onto the wheel lip, usually via a tight mechanical fed or a tiny grub screw. They're sleek, they're secure, and they don't rely on tape that stops sticking the moment it sees moisture or tire lube. Even better, some are reusable. That means you're not constantly rebalancing or resticking weights every time you swap tires. They stay put. They look OEM, and they're far more aerodynamic and durable than that little square of oxidized tape flapping in the breeze. It's one of those small upgrades that gives your bike a cleaner look, a smoother ride, and one less reason to hold your breath every time you pass 50 miles an hour. Number 11. Magnetic drain plug, your engine's early warning system. Oil changes are basic, but if you want to make them smart, swap out your regular drain plug for a magnetic one. It's one of the cheapest insurance policies you can bolt onto your bike. Why? Because as your engine wears, tiny metal shavings can circulate through the oil. A magnetic drain plug traps those particles before they go deeper into your system, acting like a mini oil filter for ferrous debris. Even better, it gives you a visual clue if something's going wrong. A little fuzz on the magnet, normal wear. Big chunks or heavy buildup. Something's breaking down, and now you know before it explodes. It doesn't change how you ride or how you do maintenance, but it gives you one more layer of insight that could save your engine and your wallet down the road. Number 12. Pivoting mirror extenders. Ever looked into your mirror and realized all you can see is your own shoulder? Yeah, welcome to stock motorcycle mirror placement. Most mirrors are designed for aerodynamics or looks, not actual visibility. Adjusting them usually means picking between a better view or a worse riding position. That's where pivoting mirror extenders come in. These bolt between your mirror and the stock mount, giving you a few extra inches of height or width, and the ability to angle them just right. They don't look tacky like giant mirror stalks, and they don't vibrate like cheap universal parts. What you get is a proper rear view. You can finally see what's going on behind you without tucking your elbows or leaning sideways at every light. And when you're lane splitting or filtering, that little extra visibility makes a huge difference. It's not a sexy mod, it's not going to impress anyone. But if you actually ride in traffic, this one earns its keep every single day. Number 13. Tank grip pads. You can have the best suspension and tires in the world, but if your knees are sliding around like you're on a slip and slide, you're fighting your own body every time you hit the brakes or take a corner. That's where tank grip pads come in. These are adhesive rubber or textured pads that stick to the sides of your tank, giving your legs something to bite into. The result? Instantly better stability, less arm fatigue, and way more control, especially when braking hard or leaning into corners. It's one of those upgrades that feels subtle until you take them off. Suddenly you're gripping harder with your arms, shifting your weight weird, wondering why the bike feels twitchier. They're also a game changer for taller riders or anyone who feels like they're sliding forward all the time. And bonus, they protect your paint from zippers and tank bags while they're at it. Cheap, invisible, incredibly effective. Tank grips are what separate casual riders from people who actually want to feel locked into their machine. Number 14. Turn signal cancel module. You finish a turn, merge back into traffic, and 5 minutes later, yeah, your blinker's still on. It happens to everyone, especially on bikes with old school switch gear and a no auto cancel function. And it's not only annoying, it's dangerous. It makes drivers think you're about to turn again, and it kills your lane positioning game. Enter the turn signal cancel module, a clever little device that automatically shuts off your blinkers after a set time or distance. Some work off a simple timer, others monitor speed or lean angle to decide when you've completed the turn. Either way, you stop riding around looking like a confused grandpa in a Buick. It's especially handy on cruisers and standards with stiff switches, or gloves that make the cancel button hard to feel. Plus, you won't need to second-guess yourself mid-corner trying to remember if you turned it off. It's a small upgrade, but one that saves embarrassment, miscommunication, and possibly an accident. And you won't even have to think about it. Just install it once and ride smarter every day. Number 15. Folding brake and shift levers, so a tip-over doesn't end your ride. You drop the bike in a parking lot. Happens to the best of us. But instead of just picking it up and brushing off your ego, you now realize your shift lever is bent like a pretzel, or worse, snapped off entirely. Ride's over. That's where folding brake and shift levers save the day. These clever little parts pivot on impact instead of bending or breaking, so if your bike tips over, or if you have a low-speed slide, the lever folds out of the way instead of taking the hit and snapping off. They're especially valuable on dual sports, ADV bikes, or anything that might get dropped more than once in its lifetime. But even on street bikes, it's a smart upgrade. You get a cleaner look, more flexibility, and the peace of mind knowing a minor mistake doesn't turn into a full-blown rescue mission. Some even have adjustable lengths and better ergonomics than stock, which means they're an upgrade even if you never crash. But if you do, you'll be glad you spent the extra $40 on parts that didn't leave you stuck on the side of the road. The best mods aren't always loud, expensive, or flashy. Sometimes they're small, practical, and invisible to everyone but you, the rider who actually benefits from them every mile. These upgrades don't win shows, but they win rides. Less fatigue, fewer headaches, easier maintenance, and more peace of mind. That's the kind of custom work that matters. So which one of these are you running already? Or did I miss a hidden gem that only the real riders know about? Drop it in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe for more real-world motorcycle upgrades that actually make sense. Ride smart, mod smarter, and keep the rubber side down.